All right. We are good. All right. Hello. I don't know how many people are going to be joining us today, so this will, yep.
Well, it'll be good because I'm sure we'll have some interesting thoughts.
And then we'll have the watch backs and everything. So hello to everybody who's watching this back.
That's
I
right.
like that
Hi,
idea.
watch back
I
friends.
watch back. Yep. Okay.
We're happy to finally be here,
Yes.
and you'll get to see us twice this month, so it's great.
Yes.
Great
Yeah.
for everybody.
We already have the date for the next one set, right? I think you already said
Yep.
that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the last day of the month.
Yeah, I think that's what we said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Becky's here.
Oh, she's here.
She's
Sweet.
here. Hey, Bex. And Angel Minx, hello.
Hey, girl.
I
Yeah.
actually drew her recommendation for this month to read, so I'm excited to get that.
Good
It's
stuff.
owned by M. Never. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Be interested to see how that one works out for me. So let's just dive right in because it's been a hot minute since I read these books.
Yeah, same.
So I
Same.
had to bring my notes up for sure.
Well, you might be better than me because I will see how much I even remember of this one of either of these. Because actually too, like I had read them at a good time, like with enough time. I didn't wait till the last minute this time, but then that means that it's been a long time since I've read it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I had an issue at work that put me in like the worst like mindset possible. So it would have just been me bitching the entire time about not the books, just about life in general. So that's why we originally had to postpone it. So that was on me. All right, so we read Jerks by Daryl Banner and Kisses by Christine Duggar, I think is what her name was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what did you, I guess, overall thoughts? What did you think?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The Kisses, I was okay. That one I did not hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Jerk, I pretty much hated it, and I really struggled to see what the author was trying to do with this story. Like, I mean, I get it. I got what the point was, but I'm like, nobody needs to see this actually play out in a romance, was the way that I felt. I also felt that, like, for me, it's hard to judge that because I'm pretty sure this one is own voices because I think that Daryl is a gay man. So that is his story to tell if he wants. But I also think that it just made, like, I don't know, it made the gay lifestyle look really shitty to me when I was reading it. And I was like, I mean, you can be honest about how it is, but you can also make it romantic. Like, I didn't feel there was anything romantic in Jerk. So I really struggled with it. That's for me.
I actually, okay, so I gave both of them 3 stars. Both of them got 3 stars from me. I got the point of Jerk and I liked the concept of it. Have I seen it done better? Yes. The idea of, where the jerks come from. I got that. And Kisses, honestly, I'm gonna have to check my notes on that one because I don't remember it. It didn't stay with me, but I gave it 3 stars apparently.
Yeah. No, that one, that's the thing. That one was pretty forgettable, but
yeah. Okay, now I remember. That's that one. That had the weird fucking ending. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
It was actually tracking to be like a 3 or a 4, and then it blew itself up. I was like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this isn't horrible. This is pretty spicy. I like this sexually liberated woman. Like, I'm liking it. And then it just blew it up. But anyway, we're rushing ahead of everything. So my ratings, I gave Jerk 2 stars and I gave Kisses 3 stars.
Okay.
That's where I was at with ratings. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so tropes. I think these things both met the tropes that we originally put down for it. The kisses, I mean, it's not really a trope. It's more of a trigger warning. But the mass shooting, kind of would have liked to know that one.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that would have been nice to like have mentioned somewhere.
Yeah, that one, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But
that
other
there
than
should
that,
be
like the teacher student, I think because that's what we mentioned. So glad I didn't miss much, Becky.
nope.
Yeah. Um, so the tropes that we gave were for jerks, MM, second chance romance, and for kisses, we gave a teacher student. I think that's all we gave because I wrote those down.
Right. That's
Um,
interesting. Wow. Yeah, I don't think that it matches then because there isn't really a second chance romance in Jerk.
it's a very loose
Like 'cause they don't
interpretation, I think, of
even.
second chance.
Yeah, they like barely even have anything. I
Yeah.
thought it was more of like friends to lovers.
Yeah, I
Like it was
agree.
like friends to an almost to, you know, then eventually working out. But
Yeah.
I'm
I also
also
put in my review that Jerks was like a partial bully romance because we saw kind of bullying tendencies,
yeah.
but it wasn't like I wouldn't say it's a full on
Well, I
bully
think that's
romance by
what
any
the
shape or
jerk
form.
is. I think that's what the jerk is supposed to mean
Yeah.
because it's like, yeah. Also, I feel like bully is mostly put in like college or high school stuff
Hmm.
because when you're an adult, you can go away from the bullies if you want. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Except this guy, what was his name? What was the fucking love interest name? I don't remember his name. Crap.
It does not
Uh,
matter.
Danny. Danny. He was attracted to jerks, so he's kind of attracted to that bully esque sort of
Yeah.
demeanor, I think. So, yeah.
Well, it's like the guy, it's the opposite. It's the hetero trope, like the guy who dates the bimbo.
Mhm.
Like sometimes you're just really shallow, and I think it's an interesting concept. Again, as someone who's not in the community, but like you're still going to see that trope show up in hetero and homosexual relationships of like we're attracted to the hot thing even if they're a brat,
Yeah.
like that's I feel like what was being shared with this because it's like I'm trying to be a nice guy and go on dates and everyone just wants to hook up
Mhm.
and just wants to do that.
Yeah.
And like the hotter that he got, the more he was working out, the better looking that he got, the more that he was turning into that. And I mean, again, I got the concept of it and where we were going, but all it did was make me lose sympathy and make me lose love for the main character because we're then watching him become this thing. And then
Mhm.
there was weird time jumps happening and all over. I mean, I hate time jumps with a fucking passion. So that's part of why both of these books ended up lower than they could have been. Because
Mm.
anyway,
All right. Well, let's just jump right into jerks and what worked.
right.
Um,
Well,
so
you can
what
say
worked for
it
me?
didn't work for me.
What didn't work for you? Well, what worked for me was the original concept of the novel, kind of this creation of where the jerks come from, because I know for a fact that there are jerks out there because of me. And I've been in relationships where I'm like, God, why are you such a douchebag? Who made you like this?
Right.
Like, I want to know the story, but I also don't really want to know the story because I don't want to hear about the ex. So I liked this concept of seeing the nice guy turn into the jerk and then kind of grow out of it because eventually the jerks do go away. They finally realize sometimes, sometimes they realize that it doesn't really pay off.
Right.
So I really liked the original concept and I liked how it was shown through Rome. Granted, was it very stereotypical? Yeah, like they turned him from this nice, meek kind of guy who seemed like he kind of got walked all over, never really got noticed, and then turned him into literally like Beefcake Central, like Greek fucking god over here, and he's a total man whore on top of it. Like you
Right.
can be a jerk and not a total fucking man whore. Like
Yeah.
that's concept. And then
Yeah.
obviously he, keeps the jerk mentality and loses the guy and then gets the guy when he starts to realize, oh, well, maybe if I go back to being the nice guy, I can see him. So I liked the arc that the author gave him, but at the same time, it also showed that the guy had no self confidence in himself. He had to change everything to appease one guy, and the guy didn't want anything to do with him when he wasn't good looking,
Right.
but he stuck with him when he was good looking. So it's like,
Yeah. It was it was just a mess to me. Also, like again, like we're talking about what worked here.
yeah,
So I don't have anything to share besides agreeing like the concept could be cool. I like the idea of like the scenario, meeting at the gym, he's taking care of himself, getting better. But that's kind of it, because I just have a whole list of things that I don't like about this that just make it not necessarily a bad book, but definitely not a book for Jen, because it breaks a lot of what I personally find appalling in relationships. So it just makes it like a not for Jen story.
Well, what did you think about the character of Tim and what he represented? Because I felt he represented this idea of openness and acceptance of oneself, because he was straight up, he annoyed the crap out of me in the beginning, because I was like, you jumped into this shit really fast. He's the guy that Rome goes on a date with at the movie theater, then immediately starts to want to like
Yeah, I know.
blow him and feed him and rub his feet and everything, like immediately submissive. Is that character.
He wants him to tell him what to do. And
exactly. And he like, with no vetting, nothing whatsoever, he just dives right in. And I was like, okay, you're kind of fucking annoying. But then we meet him later on in the story, and he says a lot of things that are just like, look, this is who I am. Yeah, I'm fucking weird and I'm a little extreme for me, but I know this. I know this about myself and I accept it. And it's kind of like the voice of reason for Rome when he starts to finally realize like, oh, I need to be okay with who I actually am, because I'm not a fucking jerk. I look better now because it gave me the drive to, shed the little meek fatal. So how did you feel about that kind of message being carried through with the story?
I can't tell you that I paid attention to Tim when he came back around. Because a 2-star book, I wasn't paying attention past the point of when Danny like blows him off because he's a jerk to him. And then I'm like, okay, we're at this percentage into the story where he's now finally broken up from that guy. We've already had time jumps happening. He's went on these dates. That dude, I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was used for comedic effect, and I don't totally like that he was. But also, he was performing non-consensual kink on someone who didn't know what he was into, and I have a problem with that. So we have like these issues piling up. It's fine that he wants to be who he is, but you're right. He didn't vet the person that he was with before he started wanting to be a service to him. And that's still something you need to get consent for. Even if you're the one like doing the things for people, you need to be that. And again, to me, it felt like the author was showing lots of stereotypes of the gay community. And again, this is an own voice that's from his community. So I don't want to be the person saying that that's wrong. But I also would have those problems when a straight author does it and just puts the same type of fuckboy examples in a story. And so for me, it was just like, it was just tough to find anything to like about that, because I didn't feel like anything really new was being said that couldn't have been done with more nuance and in a more romantic way. The biggest thing for me is there was nothing romantic in the story for me to latch onto. So it just felt, I'd seen someone's review where they were like, this was kind of like a women's fiction, but like, it's not. It's like it's a gay one written like for women, basically, because women read romance novels. And it's like that kind of journey that someone would go on. But then there wasn't any like romance for me in there. So it's like, if those lessons were in there and it's good, that's great. But this is also a romance novel. And I didn't buy the romance between these two by the time that it happened. So that's where it like completely fails for me, is that the aspect of like, you don't need to be a jerk to get the guy, even though it might seem like jerks win in the short term, blah, blah. Like, if that's the lesson we're teaching, that's fine. But I think that was used with a hammer instead of like with a more delicate tool. And then that hammer just like blew up the whole romance for me. Because I was like, your concept, cool, it's there, great. But then I also didn't like Rome or Danny by the time they were together. I was just like, Danny, if you just want to be with jerks all the time, but then there's the nice guy who became a jerk to get you, and now you're like, oh, well, you're a jerk and I don't want you. That's so like a rom-com movie that you've seen, where it's like a girl doing it, becoming a bimbo to win a guy, and then he's like, well, you were different than her. Like, I wanted you to be different. Anyway, it just made me be like, maybe you should be with Tim. Maybe you should check out the kink that Tim has to offer you.
All right. Anyway, so I said what I thought worked. Jen doesn't think anything worked. So, Jen, floor is yours. What doesn't work?
I mean, I'm basically done now, girlfriend. Your turn. I mean, by the way, I hope it's good. Like, I'm not invalidating whatever you took out of the story. I'm glad you found some things to like in it, so it wasn't like torturous for you.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm just like, I was just so like, here's the thing again. I should be at the point where I have no expectations for these books. But I still was very excited to read a gay romance, Own Voices, to see what the concept of it was, and to just be so like, okay, well, we say that women shouldn't write gay romances, but then I get this, and it makes me like hate it. So I'm like, all right, got to keep digging.
Yeah.
But anybody can write a bad book. Women write bad hetero books. Gay guys can write bad gay books that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
nobody,
No, I get it.
because it's your own voice doesn't mean you write a good romance novel telling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's also that aspect. He maybe was being very accurate to his community and the things he's seen happen, but I didn't feel in love with anything. Does that make sense? So
No,
that is my big what didn't work, is that I didn't feel any romance in this. It felt like comedic situation after comedic situation, some sex thrown in, some awkward scenarios thrown in about who's blowing who and whatever. And then lots of time jumps. So many time jumps. Like, I counted like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
At least. And then because I was kind of skimming by the end, like I said, I was like, oh, they're together now. Cool. So anyway. That's for me.
I mentioned, and what I didn't like think worked was the horn dog nature that he gave the community in this book. Emphasized on the party where they go as like a couple, but they're just friends, and literally everyone's like, "Oh, I'm taking you home tonight. Oh, I'm taking you," like
this one. Yes,
I watched. I'm just like, really? And then of course every guy he's ever hooked up with in his jerk stage, only his jerk stage happens to be at this fucking party. And I'm just like, okay, I've been in scenarios where I have had friends, like multiple people they've hooked up with are at the same party, and they'll be like, oh my God, Jackie, like literally there are like 5 people here that I've hooked up with. We need to fucking go. Like, okay, that's fucking awkward. I get it, but you still fucking did it. Suck it up. You also want to come to this party. But I've never seen this in like, I've only seen it in movies and in books. I've never seen it in real life where people are genuinely like this. And I'm like, really? That's the mindset you want to give me of this? But at the same time, this is when I didn't like Danny. I started to not like Danny the most, because Danny's like, we're just friends, we're just friends. And when Rome acts like just a friend, he gets pissed off and jealous. I'm like, dude,
yeah,
that's fucking annoying. But then Rome is doing one of my cardinal things that I fucking hate, going out of his way to make his partner jealous in this game. And it's just like, nothing real is going to come from this. Nothing genuine is going to come from these fucking games. And so it just, that whole scene kind of pissed me off. I was like, this is dumb. If this was straight, this would have been dumb. Gay, it's dumb too. And I just didn't really enjoy that scene. That was one of the pinnacle scenes of like the big climax
proving that he really does care because he got jealous. That's a trope that can just, I mean,
fuck right off.
Right. Like, there's ways when people are feeling possessive, but it shouldn't be because you're purposely trying to make them jealous.
Exactly.
You know,
because everything you get after that is fake. It's not based off of truth. It's based off of a lie. So your reactions and mentality are all based off of a lie that was put towards you. And it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yep.
So that was a big, huge faux pas for me in this book. I was like, I am done with this. That's annoying. I didn't appreciate that one at all. Yeah. Now, what I do want to ask you is, because you are a big fan of grovels.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched a lot of your videos where you, a lot of times you will emphasize the grovel if it's really good. How do you feel about the grovel that Romeo did to Danny at the end of the book? Because I actually thought this was sweet enough for me to mention, because I usually don't mention grovels in my wrap-ups and stuff like that. So how did you feel about it?
I wasn't really like here for it, because I don't think that, again, it's like you said, like, I don't think they should have been together. I think it was someone he thought that was cute at the gym, who he saw with a jerk, and he's like, why is this nice guy with a jerk? And went through all this stuff to win him over, and then nothing. So I'm just like, what does he really have to apologize for and win him over for? Because that's the thing. Like, there can be reasons where we find like, oh, he went over the top with this, or oh, it was bad. But it's not like Danny was completely this innocent person who was like the wronged party. So for there to be like a grovel where like Danny's the one who has to do work, it's like Danny's done all the changing and trying to done all these different things to win him over. And like, Danny can say, well, I like you just the way you are, but like, did he really? Like, did
No,
he
he didn't.
ever really like him just how he was? Was he good enough how he was? Or did he only want him once other people wanted him, which was what Rome was trying to do the whole time so that he could win him? So, no, like, a grovel has to be earned. That's the thing. Like, you have to have done something bad enough to need a grovel. And then, like, you need to be able to, and then do something good to get it back. Hey, girl. So for me, it was a wasted grovel because I'm like, you shouldn't grovel to this dude. You shouldn't be with this dude. Like, and this is where I said there was no romance in this for me. So there was nothing that I wanted to be salvaged. I was way checked out by that point. I was skim reading. So I was like, your grovel is wasted because you're not going to be with this guy a year from now. You're not going to be with him. You're going to have moved on to somebody else. So it was a fail for me.
I actually didn't mind the grovel because I liked the way it was set up. I like the sweetness level of it. It kind of gave me something like a little happy moment with this. But something I forgot to mention, like the whole jealousy thing. So Rome is trying to make Danny jealous by, flirting and say like, well, I guess I'm going home with all these people because I'm just a friend, which I hate that anyway. But one thing I did like that Danny did is he used that and he's like, look, you're doing this shit on purpose. Obviously, I fucking like you, but you're being an asshole, and I'm gonna walk away now. I like that he walked away. Then we have a massive time jump again.
Right.
And then we have, this grovel that we have. But I like the fact that that element was in there because the jealousy factor didn't work.
Right.
And so I was very glad the author didn't allow it to work. He used it, but he didn't make it work. So I didn't like it, but I could tolerate it because it didn't work. Thank God. Because one of my pet peeves in romance books is the jealousy trope, and then it fucking working. It just pisses me off. It's like, fuck off. But I was really curious what you thought about the grovel because I usually don't mention them, and you really like them, so I was really curious to know.
Well, there's also a difference between a grovel and then just like apologizing because you did something wrong. Like that's the difference of like some books that I really, really like with a grovel, like the person legitimately fucked up and they need to have realized what they did wrong and do some grand gesture to win them back or be consistent for a long time to win someone back. Like those are grovels that deserve an epic grovel scene. But if it's just you like apologizing because you were a douche and like you needed to, is it really a grovel or is it an apology like that you need?
I get it.
The apology happens and then the grovel needs to come after or like, or before. Like the example of it coming before is like there's this one where this dude like keeps sending her or he keeps doing sweet little things for her before ever even trying to talk to her again and apologize. Or there's then the one where they say they're sorry and the person's like, I'm not done yet. And they're like, that's okay. I'm going to keep showing up at this place every single day for this amount of time and to forgive me. So that's the apology first and then the grovel. And then there's also like the grovel first and then you finally get their attention back and then you apologize, right? There's different ways to do it. But I don't know. I'm just...
Anyway. This one was, I mean, it read, obviously novella length, read really fast. It served its purpose, but it's not something I'm like...
Yeah, I mean, God spare us. I didn't want it to be longer of a book.
Yeah, this one I did not need to be longer at all.
No.
I was good.
It was painful. And the final, the final thing there... Yes, Joe, finally reading The Right Move. So good. Such a good grovel. Anyway, distracting me with Ryan Shea is not the purpose. We don't get to talk about books that I love right now, Joe. We have to talk about these ones. Okay. But what was I going to say? There was just too many other partners in this one too. So that's where I was going to go. My cardinal sins of stuff are like cheating, are too many other partners involved. Like I don't mind if at the beginning someone's still with someone or they aren't like going after the person yet, so they still are fucking someone else. Like that stuff doesn't bother me. It's like once you've decided you like someone, I don't like to see that partner sleep with anyone else, specifically the man. Like that's just how it is. I don't want to see him fuck anyone else as soon as after he's seen the person. So even if he's still dating someone else, we can't see them having sex with their partner anymore. Like that has to be over. They need to be like leaving them. It needs to be done. or whatever. But that's just for me. Some people might feel different. But for me, if you're telling the romance of this couple, like, I don't want to see more than like one like failed attempt of a sex scene with someone else, you know, because sometimes if it's a fuckboy romance, it starts with him fucking someone. He's like, I don't even know her name, because we're setting up that he's a fuckboy. But then as soon as he sees the heroine, like the one, funny enough, one that Joe had me read, Consider Me, it starts with him like kicking someone out that he's fucked, and we're like, oh my God. But he immediately meets the heroine and is then like, his dick doesn't work for anyone else. It has turned off for anyone else. That is the way you make a fuckboy story work. Is it's like, we can see him mess around maybe a little bit right at the beginning, but as soon as he sees that heroine and meets her, like, the dick is off for anybody else. And I mean, in this gay romance, like, there was other people he was seeing like through a lot of the book.
Yeah.
You know, granted, I mean, Danny was still in a relationship in the beginning, but it was too much of the book where there's other people that they're doing stuff with. Like, there was more sex scenes with other people than with them.
Yes.
I remember that being a thing.
Yeah.
Because there was more of the, like, the one in his kitchen and the one or whatever. And there was like 3 other guys and only one like scene with them together.
Yep.
I believe at the end.
Yep. There was one like supposed to be scene, and then they have like this mess up thing before they go like be his wingman type deal. And then the bar, they have their kiss, which I liked Rome at that point. Was that necessary to do that to Danny? Like, was that his place? Probably the fuck not. But I kind of like that he did it and then he walked away. Like, that was the end of it.
Right.
And then he, like, you know, had the moment with Joey in the gym and Joey's in his face and shit. I'm just like, all right. This is how we're going with this. This is cool, awesome party. Great. Yeah. Yay. The jerk has been born. Awesome. But
so those are personal issues for me. I don't like to see other people stuff at all. And if it is, it's like one scene, or as you're saying, or it's like a BDSM club thing where we're all in it together. Right.
And they're all consented sharing. It's like we're sharing.
It isn't cheating when we're sharing for pleasure, but when it's you trying to make people jealous, or you're still dating other people up until 40% in or some shit. I wasn't interested. So anyway, this one was a nope from me. And I actually think this one is the lowest rated one that I didn't DNF.
All right.
I'm just looking at my notebook right now. The only other one in the 2s was Heat. Sadly, the only other gay romance. I promise everyone.
I was going to say that.
Not homophobic. I adore gay romance. I've read some great ones this month so far. These ones have not been good. And that is, my lowest rated one.
It's depressing.
Thus far, because I just didn't work for me. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So the next book, which is What Worked in Kisses. This is by Christine Duggar. Yeah. This is the teacher student with the girl who wants to be a criminal investigative reporter. And she has a random hookup. And she's a one and done kind of chick. She's good to go. He's a one and done kind of guy, but he's like, hey, I kind of like this one. And then he finds out she's her student.
Yeah.
Or she is his student. In the one class this guy fucking teaches. One.
Yep.
So what do you think worked?
Yeah. Well, I really liked the whole beginning. It was a great hookup scene. I love this kind of one night stand stuff. It's why I love one night stand, because it's always your best friend's dad, or it's your dad's best friend, or your ex's. But like, I love that stuff. Or it's your teacher. I love so many good student-teacher romances start with them hooking up and not knowing. Like, It's great. So I didn't have any problem with the beginnings of this. I really like that. I also did like that. I didn't like that he was an ass to her, but I liked how they slowly started flirting again. Like how it slowly started happening again. You know, running into, because she ran into him at a bar again, right? Is that what happens the next time?
They're at a restaurant or something, and the friend comes in.
Yes,
the friend that the other friend likes.
Yeah, when they run into each other again and just can't help but like be flirting again. So I liked how that worked out. And I will not jump into. I won't jump ahead this time. That's what was working so far. I get too heated about some, but no, I was having a good time with this one for sure. Especially after having just read the other one, I was like, oh, okay, there's some stuff I like.
Yeah. I forgot when I started reading this that this was a teacher-student romance. So that was something that actually like made me very, very happy.
Surprised you.
Yes, I did. I love teacher-student relationships, and I
Yeah.
liked the setup of this one. I liked the fact that they didn't know. I liked it. I also really enjoyed the fact that there was a lot of sex in this book.
Yep.
There was a lot,
Yep.
and she owned it. I loved. I think her name was Lila. I think it's Lila.
Yep.
Yeah, Lila's ownership. I loved it. I loved how she owned it, and she's like, "This is what I want. Let's do this." And then his reaction to her
Yep.
saying, "I'm one and done." It didn't immediately deflate or deflect to, "Well, you're not that good anyway. You're a bitch." Like he didn't immediately deflect to
Right.
like this wounded animal. He's just kind of like,
He respected it.
"Oh, okay, all right, party." Not what I expected. Like he was taken aback, but
Right.
he didn't deflect to being calling her whore or easy. He was very open and accepting of it. I was like, fuck yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Love that
because
shit.
he's the same way.
Yeah.
So and it's so rare that guys will do the same thing and then be like, well, she has to still want me. Like, but I'm the best. And it's like,
Yeah.
you do it to girls all the time. She
Yeah.
knew it was a one time and it was great. And so,
Yep.
yeah, no, I wrote that in mine is like, I like that she was sexually enlightened, if we want to say. She knew what she liked. She said what she liked. Oh my gosh, Joe, there's nothing to be nervous about. There's nothing to be nervous
Great.
about.
Great.
Literally, there's nothing. It's perfect. It's built in angst, just a tiny bit of taboo. Just stay away from there's plenty of ones that aren't high school ones. Like
Yeah,
so
this
much.
is a college
There's
one.
College ones. This one's a college one. Like there's tons of ones. Not gonna say I didn't hope one of my professors would be hot, right? See, I sadly had a hot high school teacher. So it didn't happen for me.
I had a hot college professor.
College, all my professors were old. And the one who was kind of hot, he was married. Anyway, sidetrack. Yeah. But yeah, I love this kind of setup. And I was talking at Joe. That's what I was doing. There's plenty that are college ones that aren't even super taboo. Like I just read one where she was a grad student. So he was still 40, but she was like 25. So it's only taboo because they were colleagues, not because of the power pay. But Joe, I literally have 4 videos about student teacher. We'll find you one. It's one of my favorite tropes ever. So
I like the academic setting for romances. I think they're great.
Yes, absolutely. What worked for me was the setup. What was the beginning of it? Even though my main trouble did start right from the beginning. So we'll talk about that when we switch. But what else did you like? Was there anything else?
The main thing was the setup. I enjoyed that. But it was her ownership of her sexuality and his reaction. That's what stuck out the most to me, because he never once during the entire story ever resorted to that kind of stereotypical, you can't do this to me kind of attitude. He understood that he's done this, and it's like, okay, I had my cake and now it's being served to me and I'm gonna have to fucking eat it. I'm gonna have to eat the crow and be dealing with
like you're gonna have to convince her. Like you're gonna have to win her.
He was the pursuant in this book, which I also thought was really dope. Was that he was definitely the pursuer of this, and it's usually in teacher students kind of usually the other way around.
Right, because otherwise they're creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
If the teacher is full on seducing her, it's a bit creepy. But in this case, it wasn't, because like they'd already been together and they're both adults and they were great together. That's the other thing. They were just like, they had so much chemistry besides just the sexual too. Like they were funny together. They had great banter together. So it's understandable why he was like, this chick is great. Like I want to see her again. So then when he, wants to come after her, it doesn't feel like a skeevy thing, because it's like, no, he has a genuine connection. They have the same interests because he teaches the class. That's a cool part of student teacher when it's in college, is because they have similar interests usually when it's a specific class, like when it's English ones or when it's law or whatever, like you have that similar interest of your passion. Yeah. So that's also another way, to have that bonding stuff, is it's like, you already are sharing something, anyway.
No, I totally dug that. But there was some things about the teacher student part that didn't work for me. So if you're good, you want to move on?
Yeah, we can talk.
All right. So what didn't work?
You can go first with this one.
You want to? Okay. Yeah. So there's 4 things that didn't work for me in this book. All one, he's teaching one fucking class, but they said in the book that he was like one of the top in his field. So this woman who's wanting to go into this, who we already know in the beginning, would have researched some of this stuff, would have already fucking known his name.
Right.
She would have already fucking known this. All right. Already, that annoyed me. It's like, that's a continuity thing. And yeah, there might have been a very slim window that she didn't, but the author made it very clear that this is something she wanted to do. She'd already researched into it. So it's like, you would have already come across his name at least fucking once.
Yeah.
At some point in time. Second thing
that he would have needed to use like a fake name or something, or have had a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's
yeah.
a good point.
Also, I felt that this book had a lot of missed opportunities. This is one of them that I felt like if they would have fleshed out some of these missed opportunities, we could have had more drama. Like when he's looking at her laptop and putting two and two together. That also, who the fuck doesn't know one of the main chick's death in the mass murder, her fucking daughter? Who doesn't know that? You're an expert in this fucking field and you're researching it and you don't know who this bitch is? Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. That pissed me off. And so when he decide that when you put the connection together, there was no like, oh, you're only with me for who I am argument. And that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that fucking dynamic to happen. And it was like, no, it's okay. Cool. Don't look at my shit. What? There were like, there's nothing. There was no drama about what he was researching until the very fucking end.
Yeah.
And it was completely resolved because she signed a goddamn waiver at the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
Which she knew she fucking signed. She knew it. So she had no reason to get pissed off about it. Except that she fucking forgot. You know? Great reporting skills. You know?
Right.
The other thing was very odd writing style. This book was written in a very odd writing style. And when I was reviewing it...
That's what you took. You took mine. That's
I couldn't quite figure out what it was because it felt like a journal, but it wasn't... It fleshed out enough. It reminded me of like a news broadcast article. It was very succinct to the point. This, then this. And it was just very, very direct. There wasn't a lot of, I don't want to say fluff, but extra goodies to make the characters more relatable at times. And that annoyed the crap out of me because it took me a hot minute to really wrap my head around the writing style because I kept feeling like there should be journal entries.
Yep.
And there wasn't.
So that when I said there's one of the things that didn't work started at the beginning, the tenses was the thing that started at the beginning.
Okay.
I say this again and again and again. I will not notice typos. I will not notice inconsistencies in names sometimes. I will not notice so many things. But if a tense is weird, I can barely get through the book. And that was like honestly the biggest struggle with this one for me is just that tenses was horrible, and I knew that the whole book was going to be the same way, and so it made it so hard to keep going because I did love the setup in the beginning and like I said their chemistry and all this stuff, but the tense that was used is I was like, what is this writing style? What are you doing with this? This is so awkward. Why did no beta reader or anyone like warn you? Like, this is why you should have an alpha or beta reader if you can, because I understand if you've written a whole book one way, how it'd be like, oh, I can't redo it. But someone should have read the first chapter and been like, well, okay, what tense are you using in this? Because this is really awkward. Like, pick one of the standard ones so that it flows for your people, because then it starts making you notice all those other things, right?
Yeah.
Like when your story flows and it's very addicting to keep going, then I would just spiral through it and I wouldn't notice, right? And then I'll have friends be like, oh, well, didn't you notice this inconsistency or this thing? And I'm like, nope, I had a good time. It was great. Yep. But when there's this thing where I'm struggling through each chapter because of that,
I feel like I'm getting really dark. Sorry, I keep moving.
It's okay. It then makes me notice other things. There we go. There's light.
Yeah.
So
big ass forehead. Head I got going on here. Yeah.
So that was like the biggest, honestly, that was the biggest issue for me. And it's why that took a full star off before I had even gotten into any of the other stuff, because I was like, this short book, which has so many fun things that I'm liking, just ground to a halt for me. And I was like, oh, there's so much sex in this one. I've been wanting a steamier one, and nope, just grounded to a halt.
Yeah, the sex scenes.
There was even some kinky stuff in this one.
Yeah.
Like there was some good, like, ooh, I want to do this to you. All right. Because he spanked her in this one. They're spanking in this one. And I was like, oh, I'm loving it. But I couldn't be immersed in the story because I was like, what are we doing? Why are we telling the story this way?
I couldn't. The sex scenes were the hardest ones to read. Like, I love the sex scenes, but they were hard in this tense because it was like literally taking shirt off, shirt comes off, it gets stuck on my arms. And then like, okay, I'm all for giving me the full picture of the sex scene and not making it confusing. Like, I wasn't confused. I was also bored shitless because you were more involved.
But you had no flow. Yeah, you had no flow.
Yes.
You had no flow to it at all. So
no flow. It was like reading a newspaper article.
Yeah. So that was what didn't work. And then I mean, but then the ending, which
the epilogue.
Well, yeah, just how it all like what ended up like pissing her off, what ended up like blowing it all up. And then the like time jump and then just being like, hey, we're okay now.
Yeah. So the epilogue was not needed. That was not a needed piece. I thought it was dumb. I thought that was stretching, and that was a jump the shark moment for me.
Yeah.
It was a jump the shark moment. I'm like, there's no way. Like, okay, maybe there is a way. Maybe there is, but you survive 2 mass shootings, and both of them are in a fucking mall.
Yeah.
Really? Like, that's jumped the shark a little bit. Like, come on.
I mean, I guess these days they happen every day, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, I kind of
lost it.
I think too. So in respect of this one again, this was a case of too, like I skimmed the last little bit of it and came back in for like, okay, we're together again, but their like separation and the time separated, and then the wrap up was too much. This is one where like I don't necessarily think either person needed a full on grovel because I don't feel like either person was like a horrible like wronged. But I wanted there to be a better sit down communication, talk through everything so that we can be like, okay, this is what happened. This is where we were at. This is where we went wrong. And instead it was like, ooh, big dramatic event. And then,
and she broke up with him in a fucking letter.
That's right.
How big of a fucking cop out is that?
I totally forgot. Right. And then she like disappears because she drops out of class and just like poofs. Yes.
And then they meet up again because she's asked to interview him because he released the book, and she realizes that he used her final paper in the book. And she's like, that was my story to tell, blah, blah, blah. And just like, bitch, you broke up with him in a fucking letter.
Yeah.
Fucking letter. And blocked all of his shit to ask if he could use your paper, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, no. No.
Yeah, yes, thank you. That reminds me of it. Because it was one of those two where like I liked them so much to start because it was like we were open about what we wanted sexually and like what we needed. And then when things got tough at all, it was just like you won't even hear a person out at all. Like, and you didn't, and like you said, and you didn't know who he was. And like you yourself want to be a crime journalist. So why are you freaking out like this? Like, that's the thing too. It's like, you want to do this. You're going to be doing this to people who are the loved ones of stuff or whatever. Like, you're going to be doing it. So what are you fucking doing?
I don't know. That annoyed the crap out of me because once that happened, I was like, okay, she broke with a letter. That's just, you're being a bitch on that one. Like, I was like, dude, man, you were all badass in the beginning, ownership of your sexuality. You could tell it like it is. And now you're running scared. So you're doing a freaking letter.
And also he was the one who pursued her, like we said. So then she is the one acting immature. Like he liked her because he thought she acted so mature, and then she is immature all the way around. So it was unfortunate. So this was one too where like I don't even feel like it comfortably sits at 3, but because the other one was so bad for me, I was like, well, whatever, it's a 3. I'm not gonna struggle too much. But
the first half of this book was really strong. It's the second half that started dropping it for me because it was going in as a 4. I was like, oh my god, I might get a 4-star out of this one. Yay. And then that shit happened, and I'm like, oh my god, you took a cop-out way. And then the whole ending was just like bam, 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 bam. And then second mass shooting. Really? All right.
And as we said, no content warnings for anything for this one.
No. None. Not death of a parent or even the termination of a child in an unnatural way.
Right.
Because her friend, her friend makes it, but the child does not. Spoiler. Sorry, guys. If you haven't read it, you should probably be warned about that one.
They're not reading it. Yeah. Well, we would say, we would just say loss of a pregnancy. Like, that's traumatic enough. But
Becky, I was broken up with a 3-page letter from a dude in college. I didn't read past the line more. Good for you. Don't read the rest of the fucking letter. If they're big of a puss to do it that way. That's dumb. Sorry that had to happen to you, because that's bullshit. But good for you not reading the rest of that damn letter, because after that, what's the fucking point?
Right?
You know, they can't say it to your face. They're not worth your time anyway. Straight up. Yeah, that's dumb. All right. What is next on the agenda? Connections. I did not find shit connective with the rest of the books in these. None.
Yeah,
I didn't find any. I think the connections at this point have started to go away. Like, they were pretty strong in the beginning books, but as the series is continuing, I don't think we're going to see any more connections at all.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of the authors who wrote the first few ones were like closer. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then other authors, it's kind of just like, just write your book that starts with this letter. Here you go.
Yep.
So.
Completely agree. So that brings us to the smut level of each book.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The sexy stuff. Super sexy fun time.
Well, for me, Jerk was a 2 because I only rate sex scenes between the main characters. I don't count just when there's other sex. For me, I don't. So for me, it was a 2 on the spice scale for what we got from the sex with them. That's what I had for Jerk.
I gave a 2 for Jerk and a 3 for Kisses.
And Kisses was a 3. Yes. It almost was more. If it wasn't so difficult to read those sex scenes.
Yeah, they were kind of difficult. Not gonna lie.
Because we had fun stuff involved.
Mm-hmm.
Which was good, but
yeah. No, I was excited because there was so much sex in Kisses. And I really liked like Sully's, the male hero in Kisses, dominance. Yeah. I loved it. I loved how he called her out as shit. Like, she's all about, wanting to have sex. And he's like, I just want to get to know you. I want to talk to you. And she keeps pestering. He's like, fine, if I fuck you, will you shut up and talk to me? And so takes her upstairs. I was like, yeah, that's funny. I like that. That was good repartee between these two. And that's what I started to like them, is when they did shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. And she was not ashamed of it. And good for her. Good for her. Jerks, the sex scenes, they had some good build-up moments. Like, the intensity to the build-up was kind of there. But the actual acts itself for all of them was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But the buildup was there. Like, because I based the spice rating off of all the amount of sex in the entirety of the book.
Yeah.
But there was some definite, like, intense moments when that kiss in Jerks on the bar floor, which kissing on a bar floor, ew. Like, just ew. But I like that kind of the way the author wrote that locking eyes, that kind of smolder. I liked that intensity. And then the way he wrote that kiss, I enjoyed that. I was like, it gave me a lot of promise. And then we get the sex scene with him and the one guy when he's being a jerk. And I'm like, okay, I got some promise. It's not with the main character, but it's okay. We'll get some promise. And then I get to the sex scene with the main character, and it's so fucking rushed.
Yep.
I was like, where's the intensity? Where's the, I finally get to have you the way I've wanted you for 10 years or however long this fucking time jump was. Like, or not 10 years. I think it was like maybe 4 something years in total. But like, where is it? Where is that intensity? Because you've had that been building up for a while, and I should be feeling it, and I don't. It feels just like a hookup.
Yeah.
That's weird. I
Yeah.
didn't like that.
It made me sad. But also, I didn't care. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't believe their relationship. So that's why it's like there was more sex with other people than with them. So,
Yeah, there was.
I also, so sorry to bring this back up again, but I also feel like because we were like, I didn't know Danny well enough because we don't get any Danny POV in that book.
Mm-mm.
And
It's all Romeo's.
I think that was a bad choice.
No, I agree.
Because I think if we had seen him like how dissatisfied he actually was with his jerk boyfriend, then when we see, Rome act like that, it would be like, oh, Rome, you're doing the wrong stuff, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, side
No,
note.
I agree with you. 100%. I now having read as much dual point of view as I have, I
Yeah,
kind of don't like not having it.
exactly. Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it kind of annoys me
Yep.
a little bit. So
There are a few where it's really good. Someday you'll read Sustained, which is an all male POV and an MF relationship. It's one of my favorite romances ever.
Sustained. I'll try
But
that to the list.
also, yeah, Emma Chase. It's great.
Mm.
She is a guardian to 6 kids, and he's a lawyer who usually just fucks them and leaves them.
There you go. There you go. Every time.
Anyway, but in that one, like the heroine, her thoughts and feelings are very obvious. So like it's one where like we know what she's thinking, but he's got to work through some stuff. But anyway, otherwise, yeah, in most romance, people want dual first person point of view or dual third person. Like it just makes it easier to connect with a person in a romance. Like a fantasy, you can have it be third person, omniscient, or like whatever. But in a romance, we need to be up close and know what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So
it's all about the feels.
Yep.
All about the feels. All right. And the authors. What'd you think? Is it your first go around for both of these?
Yeah.
Me too.
Surprisingly, okay, I'm going to put this out there. Daryl Banner is literally going to be at Book Bonanza. So he's kind of like a big, I mean, they don't all have to be big deals to go to Book Bonanza, but like he has a lot of books. And I saw he was going to be in there and I was like, bummer. I wish I'd liked
his book.
Well, I mean, I only read this one, but I don't really have an interest in reading more is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like, I don't feel like I want to read his POV on relationships after this one. So I don't know. But anyway.
Christine Duggar, I don't know. That writing tense bothered me. I'd be willing to give both these authors another chance. In like something of their like hardcore choosing where they're not being part of a series.
Right.
So something a little bit more I feel like some of the books we've been reading is just like they were asked to do it and they're like, hey, gets my name out there, gets part of a series type deal. So it's not really their best show.
Right.
So I feel like that definitely for sure. So I kind of want to give both of these another chance, not anytime soon, but both of them have given me reasons to not want to do it.
Right.
But out of the two, Daryl Banner probably the one that I most likely pick up first because Christine Duggar, I liked her story. Her tense sucked. And if she writes all of her books like that, I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree because I would have DNF'd this one immediately for that tense alone. Like, I just had to do it with a fanfic the other day that I was very excited to read. And I started and I was like, nope, I won't make it through this. So I'm just going to bow out right now because I can't. So if I wouldn't have been reading it for book club, I would have been like, peace out.
Deuces.
Yep.
Chuck the deuces. I'm out.
Yep.
No, I totally get it. But let's see. So takeaways, final thoughts and takeaways.
I didn't really like
Huh?
Didn't really like this month too much.
No.
But I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Next month looks kind of, or this month.
Yeah,
looks kind of fun.
Yeah. So we have Matchmaker and what was the other one? Loser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loser. Let's bring up my little spreadsheet guy here.
Loser, I think, is a friends to lovers because I remember they're like doing something on the front cover.
Yeah, I think they're both friends to lovers, is what they are.
Yeah, but one is like fake dating, right?
Yeah. Here we go. Got it here. So loser is friends to lovers and fake dating, and match is fake dating with a grumpy sunshine.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I like fake dating. I'm not opposed to that trope, but it can be done really bad too. And that's why, like, kind of seeing what's gone down in these books already, I'm a little fearful about.
Right. I mean, it all depends on why they're fake dating.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about what the setup is
Mm-hmm.
or the fake date that makes or breaks it.
Definitely.
So, yeah. But I'm here to try it, man.
Yep. And then Illicit apparently is now getting moved until July because its release date is the end of this month.
Yeah, it's not till like the 30th, I think, or like the 27th.
So,
or it's like way out there. So
Illicit will be moved to July. So we'll have 3 books in July. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll have 3. So, yay.
Yeah. Well,
so far, none of these books have wowed me. None of them have just been like, yes, this is awesome. But I have found some authors that I might want to give second chances to just to see.
Yeah.
So it's not a total loss, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this month is our like halfway point.
Yeah.
Obviously it's June, but I mean, we've read 10 of them. Well, I've read 12 of them. It's kind of like, but again, each one, they're new authors each time. So it's like, there's always a hope. And as I've said, like authors that I actually like, there's 2 authors I actually like, and they're like, we're not reading them till like the end of the month. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've never read any of these authors before.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Are any of these authors coming up? Are they female or male? Well, hold on. Let's see. Desiree and Chanel. I'm going to assume that those are both female. I'm going to assume that they're both.
Yeah. So. But we'll see.
Yep. We shall see.
Yeah.
Are there any comments from the watchers out there? Any
from our fangirls?
Yeah.
From our fangirls, or were you just there to like laugh at us?
Yeah. Go crazy.
I'm working on Heart tonight, by the way. So
nice. I liked your sunset one that you did. That was really pretty.
Yeah. It better be. It was a lot of fucking work.
Well, it looks very, very nice.
Thank you.
Very proud of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Becky's going to bed.
Going to bed. Sounds like a plan.
Good night, Becky.
We'll hopefully see you next month. Or this month. Again, I keep saying that. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks.
Yeah, because this month it is going to be on, where is the write-ups? June 30th at 7:30. That will be the next live show.
Nice.
So, yes.
They both look, I mean, again, hate to assume because we've been wrong before, but they both look kind of cute, at least.
Yeah.
We'll still see what shenanigans ensue, but at least they look cute. So
yeah. And it's June. Hopefully, like, the benefit for these books is that they are really short. All of these are really short books, so you can bust them out. I mean, you probably can bust out both of them in a day if you wanted to. It takes me about 4 days to do it. So Becky likes friends to lovers, so we're gonna see you, right, Becky? We're gonna see you in June. That's because you're gonna be here. Thanks. We're including you in there. But yeah. So that's all I got for these. That's all I got.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, if that's everything, we can close this up, and because I've got another video to film tonight. So I have a book rec video to film. So
nice. Good night, friends. Thanks for coming.
Good night, guys. Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
All right.